I'm Jeff Fender, and I own Jeff Fender Studio, where we do painting and fabric painting, aging, distressing, crafty things, whatever anybody needs. I can figure it out usually. I've done it all. We've done every kind of project that we can think of.
Now, you mentioned that when you first came to New York, you started working with Broadway.
Right, yeah. When I first moved here, like in 1990, I got a job at Matera's as a shopper. That was amazing and the best learning experience ever, because at that time Matera's had like 5 shoppers, and there were many more fabric stores and trim stores, and so I got to learn the city that way, like that, it was so fast. I had taken a little fabric painting workshop when I was a draper back before I moved to New York, when I worked at Playmakers Theater in University of North Carolina. So I kind of learned the technique then, just for fun kind of thing. So I kind of knew how to do that, so Barbara knew that. They needed a project for Sleeping Beauty that Patricia Ziprot designed. There were like a whole set of painted skirts and bodices and stuff. So they hired us to paint them and set us up in part of the shop, like our own little shop. So that was kind of the first thing. And it was like 30 skirts to paint and 12 bodices. So it was a lot to do. So we just kind of said, sure, we can do that, and figured it out. And the rest is history.
One thing that I thought was very interesting is that you, even though you're closed, you still show up and you still paint things. You're still painting. You're still
yeah,
creating.
I gotta keep myself busy. For me, it's just painting something or making something pretty or making up some way to do something that whatever the designer wants or whatever is fun to do. Because to me, it's all fun. And I think a lot of that is from Barbara, like working at Barbara's, because her whole mentality was whatever is the best that you can do for the end product. It's not just like, here's a thing, I need pink flowers on it kind of thing. I like to be like, well, who's it for? Well, because my background is in design and even building things, so that I'm like, oh, well, wouldn't it be cool if you added this kind of weird whoosh to it, or that kind of, and so for me, that's the fun of it, which is a really great way, if you're custom painting something, to like push it through the character. That's a good way to like push the character through, I think. Otherwise just buy a piece of fabric that's got pink flowers on it.
Do you think what you do is a dying art?
I think so. Maybe it is a little bit, because now people are so into having things printed, or like calling Spoonflower or one of those kind of places. I don't think a lot of people know it's an option now. A lot of younger designers. Costumes aren't painted as much as they used to. Like usually a lot of times the whole show would just be painted as a look, and people aren't designing that way as much. But luckily I've got some people like Gregg Barnes who love to have a custom painted design and something, I think let's see, my favorite projects are, well, Moving Out was one of my favorite ones, because there were so many dresses in that. They were so pretty. They were painted. And Suzy is such a great person to work with, so I love her. And then Gregg, anything I've worked with Gregg Barnes has been fun. I think one of my favorite things I ever painted was in Drowsy Chaperone. There's an Egyptian dress it was so much fun to work with it, because we decided to paint it like it was painted with just like an Egyptian frieze on the bottom, kind of like from like figures from a tomb kind of thing, And then I had this idea, talking to them, that I like, so I made them all. They were all they looked just like they were doing this, but then they were holding like trays of martinis and like cigarette holders, and like, so it was all kind of like this weird 1920s party of Egyptian people on the hem of this coat I painted. So that was like really fun.
What is your current situation in regards to COVID?
Oh, well, now my current situation is that we don't have any work coming in. I was hoping that maybe if film things start back up, because we age a lot of shoes and things for film with the aging and distressing clothes. A lot of people don't realize that's a thing. Like when you see a movie and you see, even if it's, I mean, because we do a lot of it that's just, they'll just bring us things and say, make this not look like we just bought it at the store. So it's just making clothes look like they've been lived in for a little while. I think a lot of people don't realize that's a thing. You know, especially like shoes and those kind of things. Because you really do notice when it hasn't been, when nothing's been done to it. Even on stage, a lot of times, like we do a lot of that. It's just to make the clothes look not brand new. And there's a big difference between aging for film and for theater. We do Miss Maisel, we've done a lot of things for. And Ann Roth, when she does something, a lot of times we'll do things. And Suzy Benzinger. So if any of that starts back up. But other than that, I don't know. Because with Broadway closed, it's, like I said, we have a whole rack of things just waiting till we finished before all the shutdown.
Because you shut down when, March?
We shut down pretty much around the 13th of March. I want my people to come back. So as soon as some work comes in, like, I mean, luckily, like I said, we moved, so the rent is a little cheaper. So that helps, but that's going to start, you know, going south by December probably.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here